I'm brand new. I just came at the beginning of August to India. But there was, in this case, a special opportunity, a special occasion, which is the visit of what we call Carrier Strike Group. Is a group of ships, of important ships, and we decided to have a port call in Goa. When I say important ships, they are, because it's the main aircraft carrier of the Italian Navy. It's called CAVOUR. And the second is a multi-mission frigate. It's called Alpino. CAVOUR is an exceptional aircraft with which is many ships in one. Is of course an aircraft carrier, so it can host up to 22. It is a command center. The exceptional capacity of telecommunication and connectivity. There are 200 workstations in a very big space of 1,200 square meters only for that. It's amphibious aircraft able to carry also amphibious vehicles, and is a hospital. Is a proper hospital with 2 operating rooms, and so they operated many Goan kids suffering from facial malformations, and they were all operated on the ships. They stayed for a while after the operation, and all were very successful. And this is very much the Italian touch. I mean, to encompass then on the visit are the joint exercises that the 2 navies are going to perform. I want to underscore that this is not just an isolated episode. This is wants to be a piece of a continued design of increasing our presence in this part of the world and in this Indo-Pacific area, because we consider it important. And so last year we brought another ship, important ship called Morosini. Just after this very important port call in Goa, we will have another important port call in Mumbai with an amazing ship. Is a tall ship, 3 masts, and is the school, the training vessel of the Italian Navy. And on that occasion we will also set up an entire Italian village, 12 workshops, exhibitions, movie screenings, and so it will be a feast for also Mumbai, and to underscoring this friendship you were talking about. Yes, it's an unprecedented phase of our relationship that was elevated to strategic partnership on March 2023 when our Prime Minister came for the Resina dialogue. And once again the sea has a role in it, because and she said very clearly, our President of the Council, she said, we have common values and we have common threats, and we are 2 peninsulas. Of course India is much bigger, but two platforms projected in the respective sea, and these seas are not isolated, they are connected. So yes, we talk about Indo-Pacific, but there is such thing as Indo-Mediterranean, and this has been from ever an important trade route, and we are just reviving that. And this is the idea that India promoted of the IMEC, this corridor going through the Middle East and connecting India to Europe. And this trade route could be a factor of stabilization and shared prosperity that is the crucial ingredient for peace. Hashtag melody went viral, and I must say that I was surprised. I was positively surprised. It was very pleasant surprise. You get a taxi and they talk about that. So it's quite common, and is And then, frankly, our government is one of the most stable in Europe. Personal chemistry cannot be all, but is a very important part in today politics, and so it very much favors an intense, more intense relationship. That is a strategic partnership. It means that beyond the slogans, that it encompasses every aspect. And so what they are doing, the two prime ministers, is to meet again in November, mid-November, 18 November, on the occasion of the G20 summit in Rio, and they intend to sign a joint action plan. Business, trade, innovation, connectivity, people-to-people ties, science and technology, university cooperation, tourism, defense, space.
Yes.
And we build the bulk of the modules, for example, of the International Space Station. Talking about defense, and that was also the purpose of the forum, putting in connection some important, two of our main companies are in the top 50 of the world. Leonardo, that produces from equipment for high altitude operation to tanks, from airplanes to helicopters, from space to telecommunications, biggest conglomerate. And then we have Fincantieri, that is one of the most important shipbuilders. One of the pieces of this collaboration, part of, in the framework of IMEC, it is not only a railway and maritime route, it is and it will be also a high-speed highway.
I see. How?
Because one of our companies, Telecom Italia Sparkle, is posing a cable that will connect through internet, high-speed internet, Mumbai to Genoa.
I see. Wow.
And then going on from Mumbai to Singapore. So this is a common design, and we have to be more and more connected in the interest of the economy and of peace. For example, co-design, co-production. But it's also, and mainly, we were talking about the joint exercises, a question of mutual trust. So inherently political relationships. For example, we talk about the mobility agreement. The mobility agreement is an agreement very important that the two governments signed in October 2023. Is already in force. We are working on how implementing. But the gist of this agreement is that we can bring to Italy qualified personnel beyond the threshold established in the migration decree that every year is updated. And this is an extraordinary opportunity. It's a win-win situation. It's an opportunity for our labor market, because there are some shortages that can be filled. For you as India, because you have a huge population, and so these agreements, the government is signing them to favor these movements. And for example, one of the pilot projects is on nursing, use good nurses, and we will teach them Italian language. Italian has to become a professional value added. It's not just, as you said, rightly, the language of the gateway to culture, to food, to fashion, but it's also a skill that Indian youth can hinge on to multiply the opportunities. We have some 800 companies in India. Very much welcome the Indian investments. You were talking about cars, but Mr. Mahindra that I met bought a very famous car designer company, which is Pininfarina, for example, which is at the core of Made in Italy. And we were very happy about that. So we also welcome, very much welcome investments on the innovation side, because you are incredibly dynamic. You are the third country in terms of unicorns, more startups and scale-ups. here to India to help them interact with the Indian ecosystem. Talking about Goa, for example, the International Film Festival, Serendipity, and all these the big events, and we want to bring in general to India the best of both contemporary and classical art, as well as important, prominent, figures in all sectors, from science to business, and make them talk about Italy here, and having some important personalities talk about India in our respective universities. Universities are fundamental. We are proud of having one of the best business schools in Europe, which is Bocconi, and they have been here in Mumbai for now 13 years. It is important to create the bridge between the two countries, and we will try to bring more universities, Italian universities here, and also to attract Indian students in our universities. There are some who are already very popular, for example, Politecnico Milano, Politecnico Torino, the engineering schools, and especially in the STEM disciplines, we are very much demanded. And once again, without being rhetorical, these are the real ambassadors of the relationship, because they are those who can act as bridges between companies, and knowing the the respective tastes, respective needs, and only by experiences a society and a culture, and having studied there, you can really. As we said, we are a turning page. There was there were some years of more something that can block or freeze the relationship. Now we turn page, and taking advantage of these extraordinary relations between the governments and the prime ministers, we want really to translate those headlines in concrete programs. We were talking about innovation, for example, creating a center where you can select. We opened a consulate general in Bangalore. We are sending a second scientific attaché that will be posted in Bangalore.
I see.
We have the plan of organizing some tech events, putting the respective innovation ecosystem in connection. And in the future, we want to create a platform, as we did in the Silicon Valley. So, I mean, it's even more useful here to select some brilliant startups, Italian startups, and come here and interact the Indian startups and with financing entities,
Absolutely.
This is an example, but the ports, if we think about agri-food, we are still one of the best in terms of machinery, and this applies to a full-fledged manufacturing system in general. But also, I don't know, precision agriculture, breed development, packaging. We have very experience in sustainable packaging. Energy transition. Goa is rich in, is very much fond of renewables, is rich in water. We are among the best countries in renewables, and especially in some sectors like hydro, for example. So having some smaller companies come here and do some smaller hydropower plants is a good idea, because they can have a quicker return and less risky investment. And this is just an example. We are good in solar, we are good in geothermal, in wind. So energy transition for sure. Tourism is a great, we want frankly to host more productions in Italy, because we think we have good conditions. And arrogance, we have an extraordinary country, very diversified.
Yes.
So I don't want to compare with the neighbors, but in Italy you can find beaches, you can find lakes, countryside, art cities, Himalayan mountains or the Dolomites,
Yes.
you know, hills of Tuscany. You have such a variety of landscapes that are natural movie sets. Interesting for your productions. It is interesting in our case because it promotes our territories.